Welcome back. Where were we? Oh yeah, bracket for the proportion valve. Let's do that. Let's see here. There's that. Might work out all right. It's good. It's on there. Now, obviously, this isn't how Chrysler would have done it, but this was a simple solution, and it's well mounted. It's going to be easy to connect the dots, and it's not just floating around hanging by the brake lines. So we'll call it a win. Okay, I just took the fittings off the old lines. Just cut the line and slide it out. They're in great shape. They're the right size, obviously. And we'll just reuse them. So let's make some lines. Get in there. I forget it. Well, it's our good friend TIG wire. Back to save the day. I like using this to make a template for brake lines so that we have a pattern. So we'll just kind of get a rough idea of the length we need and go ahead and cut it off. I like using aluminum because it bends easy and it doesn't spring back near as much as steel does. So we'll just take some wild guesses. Need to have a certain amount of straight sticking out of the fitting so that we can flare the brake line. Or we can put the fittings on the brake line and then shape the brake line, which is probably what we'll have to do in this situation because it's going to be so short. So let's just go ahead and shorten that up a little bit now. How do I want to get there? Maybe like that? Maybe. This is a pretty simple brake line. Something like that. You know, we'll keep dialing her in, trimming a little here, bend a little there. I like for that to be plumb. Well, that's not terrible. So maybe we can do something similar over here. Of course, it's a straight shot down to that one. Maybe we just come up and just make a 90 right into the fitting. Well, I don't hate it. Let's go with that. Alrighty. A lot of y'all have probably seen this tool before. It's a great one made by Eastwood. This one is not from Eastwood. It probably did come from the East though. Anyway, brake line goes in the die here. And of course, you have different dies for different size lines. Put it in there. And we'll just snug it up. This first position is flat, and that just allows us to push the brake line back flush to the front of the die. Now we'll torque it on down. And we'll start with operation number 1 for a 3/16 line. Go till she hits bottom. Tighten the vise up so we're not chasing it around. Give her one more to make sure we're at the bottom. We are. And then we'll go to operation 2. I've labeled them with a Sharpie because it's so hard to see the little writing. Give her a little mash. There we go. Pretty good. Normally you'd want to have your fitting on the line first, but in this case we can just slide it on there. But this next side, we better have the fitting in place. By the way, I just sized this line based on this. I just kind of laid it on there and just sort of rolled it around to find the length, which should be close. And close is good enough with this stuff. So let's do the other end of the line. Put it back on this. Here's the flat one I was talking about. It has nothing on it. We'll turn it to that one. Make sure the die is in there right. Make it flush. Tighten her up. Operation 1. Hit the bottom. Operation 2. That's not Operation 2, moron. That's Operation 2. There we go. We have a line. Now we just got to make it look like this. Yeah, see how close the bend is going to be on that fitting. We got to make sure we do the right end too. This is the master cylinder end, and this is the proportion valve end. And it may go either way. That one just looks a little different. Well, I don't have a tubing bender that's worth a damn, especially to get in something close here. So I've got it in the vise. I'm just going to bend it by hand and try not to put a kink in it. Typically, you can just bend this stuff and it's not a problem. Doesn't usually look that good. I might try to put that in there. And we'll just go a little at a time. I'm watching to make sure we're not kinking it. And we got to get to 90 degrees. Seems to be bending pretty good so far. Little by little. Kind of moving my screwdriver up and down to kind of put a little bit of a radius in the bend so it's not all in one spot. It's coming up pretty good, actually. Doesn't look like it's trying to kink. Well, we're just trying to be careful. We're not far from 90, are we? Almost. As long as it doesn't look like complete crap, I'll be happy. We're just about there. I like a brake line that's made from, it's called a copper nickel alloy. And they're soft and easy to bend. They're great. This is not that. This is just regular old steel brake line. Well, I'd call that 90 degrees. So we got that part of the bend in there. Now we need to do another 90 degrees right here. How are we going to do that? See how nice the pattern works out? You don't have to do this on the car so much. And I mean, just because I'm doing it this way doesn't mean it's going to fit. Been there before. Friends. Ain't terrible. Didn't kink the line. Now, if it'll fit the car, we'll be doing great. She's going to need some encouragement. Well, there we go. That 90 degree bend is no longer 90 degrees. That's closer to 45, but who cares? It doesn't look like ass. So I'm happy. Well, there it is. Not exactly what I envisioned, but It'll do. So let's keep going. Okay, now it's time to run brake lines from the proportion valve to the front wheels. But before I do that, I need to move this bracket because this brake hose is not quite long enough. It's not going to be happy there. So we're going to move the bracket maybe to like right here. The way the hose has plenty of slack in it, we can steer the wheels and not tear the brake line loose. So let's do that. That way we have someplace to build to. Okay, got the bracket off. It has this little alignment tab that goes in that second hole. We're just going to hammer that sucker out flat. We don't need that. Drill us a new hole over here and Bob's your uncle. All right, we drilled the new hole here for our bracket, and I believe, where do you go? This factory bolt has a slot in it, so I believe it's made to cut its own threads. So we're going to try that out. That worked beautifully. It cut its own threads and went right in. I didn't tighten the crap out of it. Hey, so that'll work. Got a nice loop in it. All right, let's do the other side. All right, we got it moved, put it in place, put the little clip in, did the same thing on the other side. Now we have some place to build to. Portion valve is right there. So this side will be easy. Well, not easy, but it'll be easier than the other side. All right, we got us a TIG wire template. Goes along the frame rail, up, and into the bottom of the proportion valve. Let's see if we can make a brake line that fits this time, maybe. Well, there's our template and our new line. Pretty close. Put some fittings on it and put it on the car. Don't forget your fitting. These are more reclaimed ones. See? See the problem? We're just going to straighten this line out a little bit so that I can slide that fitting further back, and that's just enough. Just enough. Operation 1. Operation 2. 2 more on 2. Pretty good. Let's do the other side. Okay, that one fit pretty good. It went right on there. I don't know if you can see it coming around right there. And there she is on our brake line. We'll just kind of tweak and tune it so that it's not rubbing anything, because if, over time, holes can get rubbed in things. So we'll see it's making contact right there. But like I said, we'll just tweak it around, put some little holders on it wherever we need to put them at. And there you go. It's another day. And we're back on it. Let's make another brake line. I have this one that I took out of the car, which would probably make a pretty good template. Oh, come on. Okay. For the most part, that'll make a good template. We can use everything that's there, and we'll just have to change the end at the brake hose, and of course the end that goes to the proportion valve that was never there before. So let's do that. We have another reclaimed, recycled brake line fitting, and it come out. Yeah, these things are cheap. You can just go buy them. But these are free, and they don't have to go anywhere. That's a win. Right there's one that I've already reclaimed and cleaned up. It looked just like this one to start with, and now it looks like that. And it'll be just fine as long as it's not, rounded off. These are good. So the entire front brake plumbing on this thing so far is entirely made out of reclaimed brake line fittings with a whopping savings of a couple of bucks. Whatever, it adds up, and I didn't have to go anywhere. Now, of course, we can't reuse that, obviously. I talk about not having time to do these projects, yet I spend the time to set up these stupid shots. Old brake line fitting. See if we can launch it across the shop. Like new. Oh, where you at? There you are. Come on. There we go. Tighten her up. Operation 1, 3/16. Operation 2. Crack the egg. Looks just like all the other ones I showed you. I hope this piece of brake line is long enough. I might have screwed up. Okay, that line was going to be too short, so I just pulled out this other line that I had. Went in fitting on it. That'll be long enough. I'm in a kind of a dilemma. I want to use this old brake line as a pattern, but I need to change the end. That's not a big deal, but I need to add to the end that the proportion valve is on. So in order to use that and add on to the end of it, I need to put that line back on the car, and then, from here, use TIG wire to go to the proportion valve. I don't want to do all that. I'm thinking about just slapping the line on the car and shaping it as I install it on the car. You can totally do this. Sometimes it doesn't look that good. I'm going to try to make it look good. So let's just see what happens. So far, comes off there, it goes behind the proportion valve on the frame, and joins the other brake line up there. And it's going to there. That's how far we've got. Let's raise up the car. Keep going. All right, here's where the line comes down. Up there. The factory line run through here. There's actually a couple of holes here and here where factory clips were. Up over the frame rail. Yep, over the frame rail to the hose. I think I'm just going to go ahead and thread it into the path, and then we'll shape it into place and hope it don't look like shit. Well, there it comes. It's, it's a little wavy and wonky right now, but we'll work on it. The factory clips were rusted and broke, so thanks to Harbor Freight, we'll put these little Chinese doohickeys on there. Goes up. And of course, it's just kind of hovering right here because it's not attached. It comes through the frame right there. We'll go ahead and get a fitting on there. Then we can go ahead and connect it to the brake line and shape some stuff up after it's held in place. So there you go. Okay, now there's the downside to the Eastwood tool is you pretty much have to put it in a vise to use it. So if you have a brake line that's on a car, well, it's kind of hard to use it, but you can. And that's what we're going to do. If I can not make an ass out of myself for YouTube. You know, you can just use the other type of brake line tool, the cheapies that always breaks the little 3/16 tip off the fitting. You know what I'm talking about. So, I do have that tool, by the way, but it's broke. Died, the 3/16 died. The little tits broke out of the end of it. Because that's what happens. Need to get another one. So, with enough fidgeting, we get it in there and we'll do the same thing that we do on the bench. Loosely tighten that up, loosely. And then, all you need is a big ass pair of channel locks to hold the base of it with. Sounds easy enough, doesn't it? It's not. Okay, everything is squared up. Let's tighten it down. Are you going to stay there? Good and tight. Operation 1. And let's grab a hold of something. Here goes nothing, right? And there it went. That's all the way. Operation 2. In the hole. That feels pretty good. Oh. You know what I forgot, don't you? You're hollering at the screen. Hollering at the screen. You don't have the fitting on there. Well, this was just for practice. It's right there. Oh. Hey. I caught it. Well, let's do this over again. Here's how to use a tubing cutter. This is not the first time I have forgot the fitting. Get on with it. There we go. Like I was saying, put the fitting on. All right. I feel like I've done this before. Operation 1. Did you hear my elbow pop? Operation 2. Go ahead and get this screwed into the brake hose, and then we can shape and manipulate the line into place. It'll be easier if the end of it is, you know, where it belongs and isn't going to move around. I'll be able to shape the line easier. A little bit of leverage. Okay. Now, if I can put some shape on this boy. So it doesn't look so reckless. Lift's leaking. Yeah, I gotta fix that too. Guess I should have put it on the locks, huh? Okay. It's not going over now. Okay, here's what we got. Going in over the frame rail. Here it is, and here's the little hold down on it. Goes around the radiator. Comes up over here, joins the other line to the proportion valve. Okay, we're working on the rear now. Here's the rear line I pulled off. And I have begun putting the new one in. Comes from the back of the proportion valve down across the frame to over here. And it just goes right back in the factory clips. Pretty much a straight shot. I just bent it as I went around the frame. That could be a little tighter on the frame. We'll work on that. And I did this again. So, and I remember the fitting. Take the tool off, slide the fit down, put a couple more bends in it, get it to the line, and we should be good. Okay, it's in there. I added a little Chinese clamp there. Got it tucked a little closer to the frame rail. There it is coming through there. It's not bad. It's not terrible. It'll be just great now. I didn't tighten this up, obviously, because it needs everything back here. And we're going to pull the rear end out of this car and fix all of it. Paint it, fix the leaks, put a 391 gear in it. Oh, yeah. And all the brakes. When I got this car, the rear wheels wouldn't roll. The brakes were just frozen. So I ended up having to beat the drums off of it. And in the process, I broke the hardware, which it probably couldn't use none of it anyway. But it's getting all of it. Springs, shoes, wheel cylinders, everything inside the drum. Of course, a brake hose. The lines on the axle. They're probably okay. But I've replaced all the other lines on the car, so we're going to replace these too. Because nobody likes brake fluid leaks. Yeah, that's kind of crusty. They need to be replaced. Alrighty. Well, this has drug on long enough. We'll call it right there for now. I think I'm going to try to start making these videos around 15 or 20 minutes instead of, 50 minutes or 45 minutes. I want them to be shorter, but the clips stack up so quick, next thing you know, you got an hour. So I think that's too long. So we're going to try for 15, 20 minutes from here on out, hopefully. Anyway, thank y'all for stopping in and watching, and do the like and the subscribe thing if you would. That would be great. Comments are great. I think I'm up to like 62 or 3 subscribers now. Crazy. Anyway, thank y'all for watching. Come again.